Hi there, I'm the book lady, and boy have I brought some fun today. Not only did I bring 2 books, you know I always bring 2 books, but I brought a friend. Her name is Vicky, but we're going to call her Colonel Vicky. No, actually it's Lieutenant Colonel, and we'll get into all that. But I'm glad that you're here with us, because every now and then the book lady has guests. Sometimes they're little, and sometimes they're colonels. And it's fun, because then we get to know more about what we're reading. I am going to read to you today, My Mommy's in the Military. Now, the military is Air Force, Army, Navy, Space Force, Coast Guard, Marines. Look, 6. Yeah. And mommies are in the military, and this is going to tell us more about it. Then, because Colonel Vicky happens to be in the Air Force, we're going to read some amazing facts about the U.S. Air Force. Now, you got to understand, the military are the people who protect us, our country. They protect the United States of America. All right, so let's read this, and then we're just going to have fun talking with Colonel Vicky. Okay, we'll get through this. Hi, my name is Matthew. My friends and I are part of a special group of kids just like you. It might not be you for real. It might be someone you know. Our mommies are in the military, and they do all sorts of jobs. Now, my mom works in cyber operations. What's that? She works with computers to protect all of our cyber networks. That's still getting a little complicated. Networks are like invisible highways that help us share information. And look, see her uniform? My mom is an engineer. She helps design, build, and repair things like ships, or planes, or buildings. The military needs special equipment to do a lot of different tasks. Tasks are like little jobs. My mom makes sure everything is built exactly the right way. That's an important job. Our mom is a boom operator. Whoa, what's that? She flies in the back of a big airplane and controls a long arm called a boom. She uses the boom to put gas or fuel in other planes while both planes are flying. Look at that. Do you see that long arm? This is giving that plane gas or fuel so it can make the whole trip. It doesn't have to stop. You know, when you go on a trip and you have to stop for gasoline and like to go to the bathroom. My mom is a veterinarian. What? The military has specially trained animals like dogs that help with important missions, and my mom keeps the animals healthy. Who knew? My mom works in logistics. That's a long word. She helps get important equipment to other military members or people in need all around the world. Sometimes she loads it on a plane, sometimes on a ship, sometimes a train, or she may just load it on a truck and drive it where it is needed. That is an important job. My mom works in special operations. She goes on unique missions. She needs extra training before she can go. Wow. Our mom is a judge advocate. That's a lawyer in the military. She makes sure that other military members obey the law. Military law is called the Uniform Code of Military Justice, UCMJ. Our mom works in communications. She makes sure important information about the military is explained to civilians. We're civilians. Civilians are the people who are not in the military. She's sort of like a journalist, but for the military instead of a newspaper. My mom works in space operations. She operates satellites in space. These satellites are objects that circle or orbit the Earth. Some can take pictures, some provide navigation, or some even get weather information from around the world. She's also part of the newest military branch called the Space Force. Sometimes our moms deploy. Now, what's that? That means they have to go away for a long time and usually to a different country. Oh, that would be kind of sad. Sometimes our moms work long days or nights, so we don't get to see them much, even when they are home. Because if you go to bed at night and your mom's working at night, see, she's at work. But no matter where our moms are or what they are doing, they are keeping us safe. Other people may call them soldiers, sailors, Marines, airmen, guardians, or Coast Guardsmen, but we just call them Mom. And that's it. The author of this book is named Kelly Caggiano-Hollyfield, and she is in the Space Force. She used to be in the Air Force, and she jumped over and she's in the Space Force. And she sent me this book. Thought that the book lady should read it on to all of you. So here I am reading it. Okay, why don't we talk a little bit to Vicki, Colonel Vicki. First of all, tell us a little bit about your uniform. I like it. I like your boots.
Okay, so I have really awesome boots. They're called combat boots, and they're actually really comfortable, like tennis shoes.
Oh, they are.
But they have steel toes, so if I drop something heavy working outside, I won't squish any of my toes.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Right? So then we have, and then I have to. We call this rolling them under, called blousing, and it makes sure that your pants stay tucked out of the way and you don't get them caught on machinery or equipment.
Okay.
That's really important.
It.
The most fancy thing we have, look, I have a pen pocket right here so that I'm never without a pen, because if you remember something, you got to write it down. And then our uniforms also have patches, and the patches tell you certain things. Like this is a patch that tells you what country I represent, obviously the United States of America. This patch right here, it tells you what unit I'm in. So for me, that's the mobility and Training Aircraft Directorate at the Life Cycle Management Center here at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. And on my other side, this one down here tells you what command I'm in. So I work for Air Force Materiel Command. And this little patch that's probably hard to see tells you that I've been a commander. So no matter what happens, like if you're actively a commander, you'll wear that badge over your name. But once you've graduated, then you put it over here on your arm. So then this tells you what my last name is, which is Williams. This side tells you what branch of service I'm in, so it says Air Force. And then tucked up under here is my, they call it occupational badge, and it tells you what my job is. So I'm an intelligence professional, and so I have an intelligence badge. So everything on my uniform tells you something about me.
Right. Mm-hmm. But not everybody knows the language.
That's right. So sometimes it can be confusing, and even sometimes when I encounter, especially Space Force rank is new, and I'm still sometimes trying to learn what it is, and so I'm like, ooh, what does that mean?
Yeah.
It's okay to ask someone if you want to know.
You went to high school, then you went to college, and then you joined what? The Air Force.
I joined the Air Force,
And
yes.
did you have to go through training, or what? if one of my friends wants to join the Air Force, what would they do?
So there's two different ways to do it. If you go right out of high school, you'll go to basic training, is what they call it.
All right.
And that's where they teach you all the things you need to know to be a soldier, sailor, Marine, airman.
Okay.
If you go to college, you have a couple options. If you're in a program called ROTC, then while you're in college, you're learning to become a military officer, and then you do field training like 1 month, generally the summer of your junior year. I did not do that. I graduated from college, and then I went through something called the officer training school. So I spent 13 weeks doing basic training, learning all about how to march and wear my uniform and learning all the military ranks and all of that kind of thing. Yeah, and then they send you, depending on what job you're going to do, they send you to a school to learn how to do your job, and that's called your technical school or tech school.
Isn't that interesting? Let's read a few facts about the Air Force. Since our friend, Colonel Williams, is in the Air Force, let's learn a little bit more about it. You know, I should probably tell you, my father, I had a father long time ago. He was in the Air Force. He started out in the Army. There was no Air Force. Then they made the Air Force. And he was in the Air Force. And they have an Air Force Academy. That's like the big school that you go to and learn how to be in the Air Force. And he was one of the teachers. Yeah. I was about 6 or 7 years old. I remember it, but I didn't know very much about it. I just knew my dad wore a uniform. Here's some amazing facts about the Air Force. Members of the U.S. Air Force are called airmen. Women are called airmen too. And in 2013, let's see, that was about 10 years ago, 1/5 of airmen were women. Interesting. The Air Force has 86 bases. Now, I don't know if that's still the number, but this book, and it's not that old, has 86 bases. The base is where all the Air Force people live and work, and lots of times they have hospitals there, and they have shopping stores, where you can go buy your food. Airmen do different jobs at each base. Eglin Air Force Base is in Florida. Airmen there track 20,000 objects in space. So if you're really interested in space, the Air Force is for you, also the Space Force. Each year, about 1,000 airmen become pilots. Ooh. Before they can be pilots, they go through training, and training lasts 240 days. It's just a little less than 1 year. And I think that's a great picture. You want to know a secret about the book lady? I'm scared to fly. I don't like to fly at all. Yeah. Just a thing. The Thunderbirds, have you ever heard of them? Well, they put on air shows and they fly very fast jets. The jets move in patterns, see? And they can fly just 18 inches apart. And look what I brought. Let's see if we can find the end of it. I want to show you what 18 inches is. 18 inches. Those big, fast planes, they can fly so they're only that far apart from each other. Isn't that amazing? It's kind of scary. But I love to see the Thunderbirds. And then the Thunderbirds, and what are the other ones called?
Oh, the Blue Angels.
The Blue Angels.
That's the Navy's team.
All right. Yeah. So that's fun. Some Special Forces airmen fly into dangerous places. They jump from airplanes, and these airmen rescue people. Look at this. He is jumping out of an airplane. He's upside down. Oh, it panics me. Some airmen fly drones. Have you ever heard of drones? These are planes with no pilots. How can you put a plane up there and have no pilots? Well, the airmen sit at computers and they use joysticks to control the drones. So it's almost like a video game. I think some of you would love to do that. Well, the Air Force has a place for you. Air Force jets are fast. Some fly 1,500 miles an hour. In 1 hour, they can go over 1,000 miles. They can cross the United States. So think about it. They are, and let's say they're in California, and they can fly all the way over to New York in less than 3 hours. Whew. Some jets carry lots of weapons. The A-10 Thunderbolt II, that's the name of the plane, can hold 16,000 pounds. That's as heavy as an African elephant. Now, first thing that kind of surprised me about that is I didn't know elephants weighed that much. But these planes, you know, a plane has to lift up and fly through the air. Imagine having to lift up and fly through the air with 16,000 pounds on you. Some missiles hit targets now, all right, a missile. It's like, let's see. You shoot it off from the ground, or you can shoot it off from a ship, or an airplane could shoot a missile. Well, some missiles can hit targets 6,000 miles away. That's like flying from California to China. And they can send a missile and have it hit there. Isn't that something? And those are the facts on the Air Force, and there's so many more, but we'll just give you enough to digest today, okay? And tell us a little bit about what you do, Colonel Williams.
So right now I'm working in the mobility directorate, and so I help design Air Force cargo planes, our training aircraft that we use to teach pilots to fly, and then our tankers. So like where you were reading about the boom operator, I work on designing the airplanes that they fly in.
Okay. Some of you may be familiar with the cargo planes. You'll see them now. If you live near an Air Force base, you'll see them up in the air, and they're huge. They're giant planes. And you can see them coming in for a landing. And those are called cargo planes. And isn't it true that when you name a plane, if it's a fighter, it's an F something. And if it's a bomber, it's a
B something.
B something. And if it's a cargo plane, it's a C something.
Yep. And then our tankers are all KC. So KC-135 or KC-46 are the refueling airplanes.
Okay, so explain to me what an airplane that is a tanker.
A tanker is like a gas station in the sky. So all of so to fly across the ocean, like these little planes that you were showing, their gas tanks are pretty small. So to get them across the ocean, they need to hit the gas station in the sky, and that's what a tanker is called. And so they fly and deliver gas to smaller airplanes so that they can fly long distances.
Now, that seems like a dangerous job.
Well, it can be dangerous because you're obviously dealing with gasoline, which is flammable, and you're flying at high speed, and you're trying to connect one small aircraft to that long boom.
Yeah.
And so the pilot flying the big airplane has to fly very steady, and the boom operator has to be really careful. But that's why they're well trained and they get lots of practice.
But what if it's really windy?
They can figure that out. We train our boom operators to adjust for the wind, and we also have technology on the airplane that helps them do that.
I'm going to see if I can.
Yeah, there's the picture.
There it is. Do you see this? Well, which one's the gas station?
So this would be like a KC-10 or a KC-46, and that one looks like it's supposed to be a B-1, which is a bomber.
So this is the gas station in the sky. and it has to get near this plane, this jet, because the jet's, it needs gas. So they take this long, they call it a boom, and then pump the gas. Imagine doing that while you're in the air flying. That's amazing. I'd almost like to watch that happen.
Did you know they can even do it in the middle of the night when it's dark? Yep.
That's absolutely amazing. Okay, so your job isn't really in this book.
It isn't.
But a lot of them are. Talk to me about deployment. We learned that the word deploy means the Air Force tells you you have to go somewhere for a long time, and you have children, don't you?
I have 3 of them, yeah.
She has 3 children, and she has to say goodbye to them. And where have you been?
So the places I deployed to Romania, and I also deployed to Iraq.
Okay.
And so my husband has been deployed to Afghanistan. He's been deployed to the UAE, and then he deployed to Turkey.
Wow. So when you are deployed, you go somewhere far away. And how did you talk to your children?
So, well, I guess the first time I deployed, you could only call home on the phone. So you could talk to your family 15 minutes twice a week. But now with FaceTime and other technologies, like you can use, most of our bases have Wi-Fi. So you can just call your kids and Skype with them or FaceTime with them. And that's really nice.
That's nice.
You miss their faces and their voices. And they miss you too. And then like my husband could read kids bedtime stories even though I was really far away.
And a long time ago, when my father was in the military, you wrote letters. Yeah. And I have a letter that my uncle, a lot of people in my family were in the military, and my uncle wrote it, and it had mud all over it. Well, he wrote that letter from Korea. And there was a war going on, and he wrote, and some mud got splashed on it, but he sent it, and that made a big impression on me. Wow. I mean, he's there. That mud on there is Korean mud. Wow. That really hit me. You know what? Because I knew we were going to do this show, now this is too small for you to see. Maybe my producer will make it so it's also dusty, but it's my father with his mother, and he had graduated from a school for the Army called West Point, United States Military Academy. And this was, you know how you get your class picture in school? That was his class picture. I always thought he was real handsome. Doesn't he look handsome? Yeah. And see his uniform? A uniform is what you wear so that you all look alike. Some people wear uniforms to school. Yeah. And if you're a Girl Scout or a Boy Scout, you have a uniform. Yeah. I sing in a choir, and we all dress the same. We have a uniform. So we have, Colonel Williams is here in her uniform, and she explained that to you. And you've probably seen this before, people wearing their uniforms. What I've noticed is the boots are very different from the boots my daddy wore.
I really like these boots.
Yeah, they're nice.
When I first came in the Air Force, we had boots that you had to shine. And it's a lot of work to shine your boots, because if they weren't polished properly, somebody was going to let you know you weren't doing a good enough job.
Yes.
And I do not miss polishing my boots at all.
And see, you don't have to polish those.
No.
Those are great boots. Mm-hmm. Oh, hasn't this been fun? We're learning about the Air Force. We're learning about the Army, the Navy. Now, let me tell you, for the most part, the Navy takes care of our oceans and our seas, okay? So many of the people in the Navy spend time on a big, giant ship. The Army takes care of land. the land. So Army bases, they're trained to do their duty on the land. Then we have the Marines, land and sea. Yeah, they are trained to do what they do on land and sea. Many times the Marines are the first ones in. Yeah, if there's some kind of trouble. Then we have the Air Force. They take care of the air. Yeah. And then we have the Coast Guard. What's that? Well, do you know what the coast is? It's like the beach. Maybe you've been to a beach. Well, they are protecting that so the bad people can't get in, right? And now, it's kind of new. We have the Space Force. Way up there. Higher than where the Air Force is. So there are all sorts of branches of the military. And I want to thank our guest today, Colonel Williams, for coming. You know, she had to take off work and drive here and come do this. It was very nice of her to do that.
It's been really fun. I had a good time.
We're glad she's here with the book lady, aren't we? And you know what I think I'm going to do? I think I'm going to head to the library, because you know that's my favorite place to go. Will I run into you at the library? I hope so. And you know, when I'm at the library, I might find myself a book about the Space Force. Or I might find myself a book about the Navy. I don't know very much about the Navy, because I'll be honest with you, when I was a little kid, my dad taught us to always say, beat Navy. But it was all about football, so the Army and the Navy, they get along just fine. I hope that I see you at the library. And remember, the book lady is also on YouTube. Yes, you can go on there and type in, you go to YouTube, you'll figure it out. You probably know how to do it better than I do. You go to YouTube and type in the book lady, and you will see all the episodes. We have read so many books, and we've learned so much here, haven't we? And today, we learned about mommies in the military. We liked this book. It was a good book. We learned things we didn't know. I didn't know. That's what you do. When you read a book, you're trying to learn something or be entertained. Entertained, do you know what that means? That means it pulls you in to laugh, or maybe cry, maybe be surprised, you don't know. And we learned some Air Force facts, things about the Air Force that we just didn't know. Oh, I've had so much fun with you today, and I can't wait to see you next time. But until next time, I am the book lady. And thank you to my guest, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.